the final verses of Matthew's Gospel, where Jesus talks about going into all the world and preaching the gospel and making disciples of all nations, etc. That's known as the Great Commission. And until about 30 years ago, if you wanted to fulfill the Great Commission in the sense of going to the four corners of the world, you had to literally prepare yourself for the foreign mission field. But now we live in this exciting time whereby all of us that have access to Wi-Fi, that have access to broadband, that have access to a computer, a laptop, a tablet, a smartphone, we can, through our efforts and through our work, as we will see in this message, for the Lord, reach the four corners of this globe. So social media is one of those things. It's a bit like television. A lot of people say television is evil. Well, television is neutral. You can watch very bad programs, or you can actually watch some very good, informative and educational ones. It's up to you what you watch. And in the same way, social media, or the internet in general, but certainly social media, fits into that category. We have the remote in our hands, so to speak. It's up to us what we watch, what we get involved with, what we engage with. It's really down to us whether we use it for a negative thing or we use it in a positive way. And of course, as Christians, that's what we want to do. We want to use these things as tools, as weapons, as devices for taking the gospel into the world in which we live. There are three ways that we can do that through social media. Now, of course, with social media, there are all manner of different sites and accounts that you can have. I think the two main ones are Twitter and Facebook. And so the first thing you can do is you can post. Facebook calls it a status update. Twitter calls it a tweet. You can post something. It doesn't have to be heavy. Even if you've just been to church that morning and you've had a great service, you can just go onto your social media and post, I've been to church, it was great, I enjoyed it. Something simple like that. It doesn't have to be deep theological stuff. Just something simple like that is showing people out there that the gospel is powerful, that church is exciting, because a lot of folks don't think that, do they? A lot of people have this very negative image of church, that it's boring, that it's dull, that it's irrelevant, that it's not for them. Now, some churches may sadly fit that category, but many places, and if you're a part of a vibrant, lively church, you know exactly what I'm saying, you don't fit into that category. And so we actually have something to shout about. So post, status update, tweet, just something simple like you've been to church. Secondly, we can do what Twitter calls retweet, or Facebook calls a share. We can post other people's messages. So we may not be bold ourselves, we may not have the perhaps theological training or the theological confidence to post certain things, but we can then do what I've just said: post, repost, retweet what other folks have put. So that way we're also sharing, aren't we, and connecting with people in a wider area. And also as well, a little nice byproduct of that is you'll encourage someone. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, and a little message appears that someone has shared your post, someone has retweeted your tweet, then you get encouraged. It's encouraging to do that for other people, to share their stuff and let other folks know what's going on. So we don't have to just post ourselves, we can actually share. And then finally, we can connect with people. That's what it's all about, really, isn't it? It's not just about us being detached and sharing, posting, retweeting or whatever. Ultimately, it's about connecting with people. And there are lots of folks in the world in which we live, people in our own area that we can reach maybe physically, but people around the globe that we'll never touch one-to-one, but we can reach through social media, who have this idea that church, as I've already said, is totally irrelevant for them, that it has no power or no influence or no sway in their life at all. But we can show through a wise use of social media that actually church is different to that, because it's more than just church. It's actually about a relationship with God. So if you're a Christian, I want to encourage you that social media is a great tool to embrace. You don't have to get involved in the arguments that abound. You don't have to get involved in the ridiculous posts that so many people make. You don't have to get involved in the controversies. You don't have to get involved in all that sort of stuff. In fact, on Facebook itself, even if you have a friend and you're not too keen on some of the things they post, you can actually not follow them. You're still friends, but you're not following them. So that sort of stuff doesn't clog up or filter into your news feed. And even on Twitter, there's a mute facility. So even if you're following someone, you don't necessarily have to have all that junk, dare I say it, all that junk, all that stuff that's negative filling up your timeline. So you can still be wise in the way that you use these things without offending people. But as Christians, it's a great tool. 30 years ago, as I said at the beginning, if we wanted to reach around the world with the gospel, we had to go ourselves, save up some money, get on a plane, head off somewhere and start to connect with people. But now, through social media, we can connect with folks literally all around the world in which we live. What a wonderful opportunity that is that God's given to us. Use it wisely, but above all, use it